We're joined now by the Vice President, Mike Pence. Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, George.
That was a striking tone from the president last night. In previous statements, he had emphasized that the coronavirus is, quote, well under control, saying it's going to disappear. So what did he learn that drove him to address the nation in that way last night? And does he now agree with Dr. Fauci, who warned Americans this is going to get worse?
Well, we all have known from the beginning that the coronavirus would continue to spread across this country, and it's one of the reasons why from very early on President Trump took decisive action to put the health of the American people first, not only declaring a public health emergency in January, but in that same month he suspended all travel from China, an unprecedented move, and quarantined Americans that were returning from the region. Since that time, George, we've issued travel advisories for areas of South Korea, Italy, screened all persons coming on direct flights. But frankly, as we watched the epicenter of the coronavirus shift from China and South Korea to Europe, the president thought it was proper for us to impose a 30-day suspension on all travel from continental Europe, and we'll be screening all Americans that are returning, George, and requesting that they voluntarily quarantine for 14 days. It's the key here, according to all of our health experts, is that we prevent the coronavirus from being brought further into our country, but also that we continue to focus resources on those areas of the country where we have what is known as community spread.
But that's what I want to press you on, Mr. Vice President. How is banning some travel from Europe going to make much difference? The virus is already here, as you point out, 44 states plus the District of Columbia. It's already spreading person to person.
Yeah, it's a fair question, but the reality is that really, just 2 weeks ago in Italy, there were less than 500 cases, and now there's 12,000 cases in Italy, George. We have tens of thousands of people that travel to the United States from Europe every day. 70% of new cases in the world were in Europe. And when we looked yesterday at what was then the 35 states where we had cases, about 30 of them could be traced to contacts with Europe. And so the president again made another unprecedented decision in suspending all travel from Europe, because we essentially want to stop the flow of people bringing the coronavirus here, but then continuing to surge resources, particularly into California, Washington State, New York, and other communities where we've seen community spread. It's a combination of efforts. It's being driven by the top health experts in the world on our task force. But the president showed again yesterday a willingness to take decisive action on multiple levels to protect the American people.
The president said last night that the health insurance industry agreed to waive all co-payments for coronavirus treatments. Mm-hmm. Is that accurate? Because previously they had only extended it to coronavirus testing.
We met last week with all the top health insurance companies, and I know how grateful the president was that those health insurance companies agreed to waive all co-pays on testing. We don't want any American to be concerned about the cost of getting testing, George.
So not treatments.
We also added
they
it
haven't
to
waived the
Medicaid
co-payments for treatments
and Medicare. Well, we also are making sure that Medicaid and Medicare cover the treatment for anyone who contracts the coronavirus. And health insurance companies also are working with us to include that treatment as well in health insurance coverage. So we're making steady progress. We're going to continue to make a very clear message to Americans that if for any reason you believe you've been exposed to the coronavirus or you have symptoms, we don't want people to be worried about the cost of testing, to be worried about the cost of treatment. And also relatedly, George, as the president made clear last night, we're working with Congress and exploring actions the president can take to make sure that hourly wage earners know that you can stay home without risking losing a paycheck or losing your job if you feel that you've been exposed to the coronavirus.
As the president said, it's a critical time. Mr. Vice President, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
Just want to clarify something on that last point. The health insurance industry spokespeople did say overnight that they are covering testing but not treatments on the copay.
That is, I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.